There is not a single coach in college football right now beating their rivals better than Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. And I've got the numbers to back it up. We're going to dig into it. But first, because I know all the Alabama fans are going to be running as hard as they can to the comment section saying, Matt, Kirby Smart can't beat the Tide. All right, what's his record against Alabama? Right? Let's just get it out there, okay? Georgia and Alabama aren't rivals, okay? This is a video about Kirby Smart absolutely dominating Florida, Auburn, and Georgia Tech. Those are Georgia's rivals. Those are the traditional rivals, okay? Alabama and Georgia are not rivals, okay? It is a special game. It obviously means something. It is a big game. It's one of the best games across college football every time they play, okay? It matters. I'm not saying it doesn't, but they're not rivals. I know it feels like it, but they're not. Yes, it's a big game. They are not rivals. So Alabama fans, yeah, Kirby Smart doesn't have a great record against y'all. He does have a national championship win, but it's a losing record, okay? Got it. Let's move on, okay? But the Florida fans, y'all are in trouble, okay? Because Kirby Smart absolutely owns the Florida Gators. He is 7-2. The Dogs have won 4 in a row over Florida. The losses came in 2016 and 2020, one of them being Kirby Smart's first year, right? Every head coach gets a pass in their first year, and that includes Kirby Smart. I know he had Nick and Sony and Roquan and Lorenzo. He had some guys. The cupboard wasn't bare, but there were plenty of guys on that 2016 team that should never, ever touch the field and play for the Georgia Bulldogs. So he gets a pass. The other loss was in 2020, one of Florida's best seasons they've had in a long, long time. 5 of Georgia's wins have come by 14 points or more, including each of the last 4 games. All right, so Georgia is dominating the Gators right now, and it's because Kirby Smart made that an effort. Mark Richt was 5-10 against the Gators. He was really good against Auburn. I think he was 10-5 against Auburn. Had his way with Georgia Tech, except for maybe 2 or 3 years there. I think it was just 2. But, against Florida, Kirby Smart has turned that series around. In 2016, obviously, that was a loss. 2017, Georgia ran Florida out of the city. Ran them out of Jacksonville. They were waving that white flag at halftime. They wanted no part of the Dogs. They got beat up bad. 2018, Jake Fromm was tremendous. In 2019, Georgia won a tight one. They still won it. Lost in 2020. And then for the last 4 seasons, Georgia's won that game by double digits. And now last year, I will say, that was a little closer than the score indicated. That was a tie game late. Carson Beck, who had a bad game, led them on a big touchdown drive, took the lead late. C.J. Allen had a big interception. Dwight Phillips Jr. had the touchdown run. Georgia wins by 14. That game was a little closer. Still, Georgia and Kirby Smart, they own Florida right now. Those are just the facts. And if those facts change over the next several years, we're going to talk about it. But right now, Georgia is dominating Florida. And a big reason why is because of Kirby Smart and what he's done there. Against Auburn, Kirby Smart is 9-1 against the Tigers, okay? Deep South's oldest rivalry, a massive, massive game for both Georgia fans and Auburn fans. And Kirby Smart has taken that series, that rivalry, which used to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Kirby Smart said, no thanks. Mark Richt, you did a great job giving Georgia the lead and the heads up on this series. I'm going to take it and run with it, okay? Georgia's only loss to Auburn in Kirby Smart's tenure was in 2017 in a game that didn't even matter. Didn't even matter. Georgia would go on to beat Auburn, whip them actually, just a few weeks later in the biggest Georgia-Auburn football game of all time in that 2017 SEC Championship game. 9-1 against the Tigers, 6 wins by double digits, including 8 wins in a row. If you told Georgia fans that when Kirby Smart was hired that they would go 9-1 in his first 10 games against Auburn, everyone is saying, sign me up. Sign me up, right? We're not used to losing to Auburn anymore. We don't want to do it. And Kirby Smart ain't doing it, right? And I have a hard time believing that Auburn is going to beat Georgia again this year. So he's got a real good chance of going 10-1 and winning 9 games in a row against Auburn. Those folks are having nightmares about Kirby Smart, almost as much as Tennessee fans are. Now, we're not going to talk about Kirby Smart's dominance over Tennessee because that's not a rivalry either, okay? Now, that might upset some Georgia fans in North Georgia. I get that it feels like a rivalry. The two fan bases hate each other. I think Tennessee fans hate Georgia more than Georgia fans hate Tennessee because Kirby Smart has taken over that series. It's not a rivalry, so we're not going to dig into it. But yes, Kirby Smart absolutely owns Tennessee the exact same way he owns Florida. Auburn, and Georgia Tech. So 9-1 against Auburn, could be 10-1 this upcoming season. Against Georgia Tech, he's 7-1. The only loss, 2016, his first year, gets a pass. They should have won that game. Jacob Eason was bad, okay? He was really, really bad. Should have won it. They didn't. I don't know when they're going to lose to Georgia Tech again. They almost did last year. I mean, part of me still thinks, how did Georgia win that game? It was thanks to Dan Jackson, probably the biggest play of the season last year. He forces that fumble. If he doesn't force that fumble, Georgia Tech picks up a first down there. They win the game. Game's over, okay? So that was I don't want to say a season-saving tackle, but it was a game-saving turnover for sure. That was almost an embarrassing loss. And every time Georgia loses to Tech, it's embarrassing, right? Georgia fans have no problem saying that it's expected to beat Georgia Tech. It didn't used to be that way. Jim Donnan, they had some real fights with Georgia Tech in the 90s, right? Mark Richt takes over and had a lot of success against Georgia Tech. And Kirby Smart said, thanks, buddy. I'm going to take it from here. And we're going to still continue to dominate most years against Georgia Tech, but we're going to keep winning. Some years we're going to dominate and win by a lot. Some years, we're going to have to work for it, but we're going to win the game. We'll see what happens this upcoming season. But he's 7-1 against Georgia Tech. So overall, against their three rivals, not Alabama, not Tennessee, not LSU, not South Carolina, their rivals, Kirby Smart is 23-4. And I don't know any other coach in college football who has a 23-4 record against their three biggest rivals. And let me know if he's out there, because I don't know. I don't know. I know Nick Saban did a great job against Auburn. They lost a couple times and against Tennessee, and I don't know who their third rival is. So you Alabama fans kind of, hanging around here for this 5-star video, y'all let me know. I don't think Alabama and LSU are traditional rivals either. So someone let me know what the third team is. But Nick Saban's not around, right? So can't add him. At the end of the day, Kirby Smart is doing what he was hired to do. And that was to beat Florida, beat Auburn, beat Georgia Tech, and compete for championships. And he does have a national championship over Alabama. He's got that one, right? Dominates Tennessee too, which is just for fun. He's 8-1 against Tennessee, by the way, 6-1 against South Carolina. He's got a losing record against LSU, but Georgia and LSU aren't rivals. Again, big game. It matters. Everyone watches when Georgia and LSU plays. But that one win, I think he's only got one. Am I dumb? Am I crazy? It's just the 2022 SEC championship. But losing record, nonetheless. Losing record to Alabama, but they're not rivals. We got to get back to this, who's a rival and who isn't, right? Alabama's a massive, massive game. I get it. I'm not trying to underplay it and undersell it. Tennessee, big, big game. Every Georgia fan cares about beating Tennessee and vice versa, right? Tennessee fans hate Georgia, right? And Tennessee probably thinks that Georgia's a rival, right? And there are some fans who feel like it's a rivalry, but it's not. Massive game, not a traditional rival. Although it does kind of feel that way. And the hatred is there, but everyone hates Georgia. Alabama hates Georgia. Tennessee hates Georgia. South Carolina fans probably have Georgia number 2 on their most hated list. It goes Clemson, then Georgia. I think Tennessee, it might be Alabama or Florida, then Georgia, or Alabama, Georgia, or Georgia, Alabama, right? They had that traditional rivalry with Alabama, now with Georgia, but the hate for Georgia is real, and it is towards the top of that fan base. Georgia is Auburn's second biggest rivalry, right? They're Georgia Tech's first by a mile. And I think most Georgia fans would say that Florida's the biggest rival. If you're like 55, 60 or higher, I'm not trying to age shame anyone, but I feel like the older Georgia fan base probably puts Georgia Tech number 1, but it's vice versa. I think it's Florida, Auburn, then Georgia Tech. Some people think I can be crazy there. I will absolutely hear you out and listen to your argument there. I don't think any Georgia fan considers Auburn number 1, although it's the Deep South's longest tenure rivalry, but I think most would say Florida. And Kirby Smart has turned that around. Jim Donnan had his struggles. Mark Richt obviously had his struggles. Kirby Smart ain't having any trouble beating the Florida Gators. Again, 7-2. He's won 4 in a row, and most of those wins are coming by double digits. So at the end of the day, 23-4 against his rivals, Florida, Auburn, and Georgia Tech. Not talking about Alabama anymore. Okay, not a rival. Tennessee, not a rival. Right, just throwing that out there. Call me an idiot if you want. I'm just talking about traditional rivalries, No one is doing it better than Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs right now. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. If you disagree, let me hear about it. We're having fun. Let me hear about it in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the website, dawgpost.com. Thanks.